Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, well, thank you for coming back. So, we're going to be doing a reading for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also, for your cross watchers. Also, for those of us who find ourselves on this channel without any Piscean anything, you probably an empath. You probably needing messages from your soul. So let's get started. Let's get started. All right. Ooh, first off, my goodness, the weather has been so dry, like ridiculously dry. Oh, you're the first to like the video. Thank you for your support. Love you. One of my little ones said he's the first to like the video. I better watch my language. So, all right, let's get started. I asked what this reading was going to be about, and I was told fitting in versus leading. Okay. Are you just wanting to fit in, or, you know, are you ready to lead your group to the promised land? I don't know where that is. I don't know where that is. What do you mean? Are you wanting to first be lost in that wilderness for 40 years? Most people don't start their major entry into their sense of knowing till they're close to 40. Most people. If they ever. If they ever, you know? So it really doesn't matter what age you are, to be honest. All that matters is you continue to try your best to develop yourself. Develop yourself in a way that really has no preconceived notions as to how you're supposed to develop, what you're supposed to develop into, all of that stuff. It's really, really important. Really, really important. All right. So we get started. Oh, right off the bat. Okay, this masculine card. So I don't know how that, I don't know how that fits into the reading. I totally thought this was going to be like an inspirational one. I'll just tell you guys right now, this might be twin flame stuff. Okay. It might be. We're going to see how we, I don't know if I'm supposed to steer it is the thing. So let's just keep reading. So there's a masculine energy right from the start. This reading is going to have to do with masculine energy. Okay. Union. So let's see. There's more than just one masculine, one male in this lifetime. You know what I'm saying? There is more than just the fire went out. Pray tell. The candle went out. Ooh. Literally, it was like this puff of smoke. Let me see if it literally just went out. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I think I got to sing a song. I got to stay positive. Like, I want to start this week in a positive way and remain positive. I don't want my attitude to be an issue anymore. At least not for this week. I feel like you guys need a break. At least alternate the weeks or make it bi-monthly or every other month where I have an attitude problem. I just want to exit out of that for a little bit. Just a little bit. Not too much. Okay, so we're just gonna leave that alone. So masculine, union, candle went out. There's we have more than one masculine energy in our lives. Okay. You don't necessarily have to make everything about a twin flame. We don't. We really, really don't. We can apply this to obviously the men in our lives. We can apply this to the women who have more masculine energies. And they don't necessarily have to look masculine or have a masculine aesthetic. I'm super feminine in my aesthetic, but I have a very masculine energy. So really it could be it could be about me. Let's go forward with this. Mhm. Loss of passion, loss of drive, loss of like that forward movement. I'm wondering if this has to do with like whatever plans that you're having, whatever projects, and maybe you started hot and heavy with a project and now it's like, well, maybe I guess I could get to it later. You have to carry the same energy all the way through. When you're in the process of manifestation, you have to carry that same energy all the way through. So you can lose some of that passion, that passionate spark that you're using for your creativity. But, you know, you can still keep going. You can definitely still keep going. And I think this isn't about doors being closed and you not paying attention to it, like ignoring it and pushing forward anyways. I don't necessarily think that that's it. Hold on really quick. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. So, I mean, like, are you still repeating certain types of cycles where you're shaming yourself, you're allowing yourself to get very harsh just because like, you know, you feel like you've led yourself all this way and to fail right at the end? I mean, is it really a failure? Or do you just need kind of like a moment to pause? Do you need a moment to pause? Is this actually a sign to quit? Or is it just one of those things where it's testing to see how much you actually want this? For example, I went skydiving a few years ago and I'm totally like, if it doesn't happen easy, then it wasn't meant to be. I ended up I ended up reserving a time to jump at a completely different place with a completely different company than I thought I was. So that was the first like blip where I was like, "Oh my god, is this a sign not to do?" And then after that, we got lost for a while. Like literally driving circles around this airport. It's like a mini airport and we were literally driving circles around it. So that was a second sign. Or was it just poor planning on my end? The third one, finally, we couldn't find it, so I had to call the owner. I was like, "Hey, we're kind of lost. Where the heck is this place at?" And he didn't even have me on his schedule. He didn't have me on his schedule, and he was not even there. He's like, "Oh, I'm about 40 minutes away. Just wait for me. I'll be there in 40 minutes." And I could have totally taken that as like, "Oh my god, 3 signs. If I jump, I'm probably going to die." No. How bad do I want this? And I set that final intent of if I'm going to be physically harmed doing this little airplane will not be allowed to lift up off the ground. It won't be able to take me into the air if I can't land safely. And maybe that's one of the primary messages here where it's like, are we using our intuition to talk ourselves out of the experiences and connections that we actually need? Because that was a life altering experience. It was like life altering to me. And yeah, I do have a lot of masculine energy. Yeah, I was trying to bring my pieces back together. I felt so fractured after my mother passed away. Yeah, I had a lack of passion for for really anything. It was kind of just like this monotony of life and not understanding how I could feel like I've lost myself in this. You know what I mean? So I know I'm not the only one that goes through these types of cycles where we don't know who we've become. We don't recognize ourselves. Like logically, we can logically deduce that yes, there have been situations that have changed us. Yes, we've experienced disappointments or grief or whatever it is that entitles us in some way to feel sad. Um, but emotionally speaking, are we processing life? Are we doing things just to fit in? Or are we actually leading ourselves out of that toxicity? Because it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Many of us go through so many different things and we don't really have a way to process it outside of trying to just fit in so we're not inconveniencing our environment. Now, Pisceans and empaths, um, we can mask like no other. Yeah, it's ugly. But many of us feel like it's necessary. It doesn't necessarily make you fake. I take it more as evidence of your desire to accommodate. I came across this video. Hold up. Here. Oh, this adorable guy. He's like an adorable child. Okay. Hold on. So, this is him masking, okay? The mask removed. Hold on. I can't play the audio because I think he's playing music. No. So that's him masking, trying to be happy for everybody. That's his resting face. Let me try and pause it on his resting face. Ah. Hold on. This is his resting face where he just looks miserable. But is he? I shared before how like I used to work for these Russian siblings, right? I don't know why the sister would call me Joey. This is obviously not my name, but she figured my name was Joey. Okay. And one day she came up to me and she was like, "You have a really pretty smile. You should smile more." I'm like, what? Okay. And I was 18 at the time. I was 18. And that stuck with me my whole life. That concept of I kind of repel people if I don't smile. Yeah. Do you mask? Where you put on this mask to make you more tolerable to other people? Do you mask? Are you aware that you mask? I'm aware that I do that. I'm aware. I'm not necessarily consciously doing it, but I become aware that I'm doing it when I pause for a moment. I become aware, like, oh, yeah, this is my other people face. Because I've learned when I'm around other people, when I'm around other people, I have to have at least a small smile. 'Cause then people start asking and asking and asking and "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Like, "Leave me alone." Like, there's nothing wrong. I don't have an attitude issue. I'm just sitting here quietly. So it is kind of like a way to protect yourself. Um, you don't necessarily have to share anything you're not comfortable sharing with other people. And the people who make you feel like you have to share, you have to question that. You have to really honestly question that. Why do you wanna know details about me? Why is it so important for you to know more about me than people do? There used to be used to join the live streams regularly, and, we were, like, like, "You have to tell us." "No, I don't." I think the time they finally stopped coming around, around oh, I think they did. They stopped coming around because, there was a comment that was left, and it was something along the lines of, like, "It's not your place to hear messages from us." "It's not my place to keep your messages from you." I couldn't even mask. I could not even mask when it came to that statement, that accusation. It was this sense of, "Well, if it's your message, why do I have it? Why do I have it? So then it's not your message. If it's your message, tell me what he said to me. That's yours." And it's really about you leading yourself to these places that don't have toxic water. When you allow yourself to just fit in. Like, for a period, I was watching people, um, other people's, like, tarot readings while I do, like, other work. I'll just let videos play, and I don't know how it started, but I guess part of the, like, automatic playing, someone's video popped up for Pisces because other viewers of my channel also watch them, which that's fine, it's no biggie, right? It's no biggie for someone else's video to pop up, and I was just letting it play, and then before I knew it, it was nothing but tarot videos that would be suggested to me. So, with that, sometimes, I usually would play stuff while I'm working out, so I'm just kinda listening to it, right? And with that, I began to notice this pattern of some of the people would go out of their way to cater to the demands of people in the audience. And I couldn't let that kind of stuff play anymore because it's kinda just like, "Really? You're apologizing because you didn't show the cards for long enough?" Like, someone was upset about the angle of the camera for the second screen so they could see the cards because they needed to make sure you were shuffling. Like, F those people. What is going on here? The more you try to fit in, the more the people in your environment feel they have your permission to dictate to you. That's the more. That is the more. And this is something that I still struggle with. This thing of like not being too assertive because society doesn't like when a woman is assertive. Assertive is the proper term, but the reality of the term you're given, if you are a woman and you have some sense of assertiveness about you, is the big B word. Yes. Yes. When you exert your power within your environment for your life, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. people will see you as a threat in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not talking about the aesthetics of power. I'm talking about really understanding your worth and what you deserve. This goes for women and for men, because I'm seeing far too often, men who are able to tap into their more sensitive side, their more emotional side. They're not allowed to. Men who are trying so hard to be a good man, a real man, a balanced man, a sensitive man, all of these things that other women tell them to be. And then when they do those things, they're seen as weak. Because if we're going to have that conversation about all men this, all men that, and just toxicity spewing regarding men, I mean, we have to have someone also say the opposite things, the opposite end of the spectrum. And I'm not going to say not all men. I'm saying there are men who exist who are the polar opposite of that. I don't want to be part of that not all men conversation. I'm saying, as an individual who is doing things to me, I'm judging you as an individual. If I'm going to condemn you, it will be because you are being condemned as an individual, not as a group, not as a mindset, not as a race, not as a belief system, as an individual. Because it's time for us to lead ourselves out of this place of continuing these patterns of separation, condemnation, just a whole bunch of stuff that goes on. And we don't allow ourselves to do anything about it. We allow ourselves to be influenced by other people, our perception to be influenced by people who don't necessarily think about what they're saying. I'm in that group. I don't always necessarily think about what I'm saying. I try to be mindful to the best that I can be, but it's not all the time. So I am part of that group. I have found myself saying things that to me is no big deal, but to other people, hearing that type of utterance is scary. So, what's the solution? Allowing yourself to step into the role of leader, allowing yourself to walk out of whatever areas within yourself that are toxic. It's okay for you to abandon those parts. It's okay. It's really okay. If you can't function within one area of your life, like there's this part of you that has this perception that you need to be this, this, and this in order to be valid to that group. Um, it's okay for you to abandon that temporarily. And by temporarily, it could be a couple weeks, a couple months, a couple years. It's okay for you to do work on other parts of yourself that will help to stabilize you. So when you're stable, you can return back to the part that you abandoned. And I don't know, I'm starting to form these opinions. I haven't gotten a chance to fully think out what this opinion is and the gravity of how it will shift my perception. But I think the whole concept of abandonment, I mean, it's almost like this thing of like entitlement, you know? Like there's this huge stigma, and I don't think I could ever walk away from my children. But there's this huge stigma for women who walk away from their children. Um, do I agree with it? Well, I think the better question is, do I need to agree with it? If I'm not in your situation, how could I ever speak on things that I know nothing about? You know what I mean? That's asinine. That's asinine when people give their opinions on things they know nothing about. It's asinine. So it's this whole thing of like entitlement, because sometimes, yeah, I know, I know it's not a good feeling to feel like your mother doesn't want you. It's not a good feeling. But what if you were better off without them present? And what if you wouldn't even have that feeling if other human beings in your environment didn't tell you that? Like, there are people who have gone their entire lives not knowing that they're adopted, right? I mean, like I said, I haven't gotten a chance to fully think this out. It's kind of just popping up here as we're talking with each other. So there are people who have gone their entire lives not knowing they were adopted, not knowing one or both their parents are not their biological parents, right? And there are some who have had horror stories. I don't want to invalidate them. But there are also some who have been very loved, treated very well, given opportunities that they would not have had staying with their biological parent. Now, whether their adoptive parents are the same race or from a completely different race, I feel for this conversation is irrelevant. Okay. What I want to focus on is the fact that these human beings grew up in the environment that their biological parents could not provide them. And at no point, because no one told them, did they feel like they weren't loved. They didn't feel unloved. They felt very loved. They felt very supported. And so how come they don't feel abandoned? Because I've seen quite a few videos of people who, and I can feel the genuine emotion, the truth in their words, where it's like, I kind of just have to allow my time to come to terms with the knowing that there was something going on in my biological parents' lives, and they wanted to give me the best possible life I could have, and they knew they couldn't do that for me, and so they found me another family. And my parents, not adopted parents, but my parents loved me so much my entire life. And it's just kind of like, maybe one day I'll look for my biological mother and father, but I already have a mom. That's like beautiful. That's beautiful to be able to let go of these programs that we are taught as children. So I remember when my second to last child, I got pregnant with my last, and my second to last looked like a Gerber baby. He legit looked like a Gerber baby, okay? So, clearly, grandma, my mom, was just so smitten with him. He looked like a Gerber baby, and I got pregnant again, and she tells my little Gerber baby, he's like 1 at this point, right? And my kids are hella freaking smart, like ridiculously intelligent. And she says to him, "Oh, poor baby, you're being replaced. Mommy's going to have another one." I told her to go home. I literally told her to go home. As soon as I heard that come out of her mouth, "You need to go home." Why? No, no, nope. I cannot believe you would say that to my kid. What? It's the truth. No, it's not the fucking truth. You need to go the fuck home. You need to go home to where my husband had to be like, "Hey, shh, calm down." I'm not going to calm down. She needs to go home. She needs to go home before I get riled the fuck up. Cause this is just getting started. This is just fucking getting started. I'm still triggered to this day. I'm still triggered to this day. She didn't mean anything malicious by it. But how dare you? How dare you try and program my child to think that he's being replaced? Like, how fucking dare you? And I know that had to do with um her own process of coming to terms with decisions she made, because I have a lot of siblings. I'm the youngest, and she felt like it was too hard. And in certain cultures, um, it's not it's not as frowned upon. It's more acceptable in certain cultures to allow someone else to raise, your youngest if you're pregnant with another. It's not uncommon. It's not giving your child away. You're not giving your child up for adoption, which is also, that's not bad. That's not a bad thing. But it's this thing of like allowing another family member to have like a prolonged babysitting thing, and she's like, your mom's going to give you to me. I'm not giving you shit. The fuck are you talking? I'm still triggered. Like, no, no. Whatever comes from me will be raised by me. Like, no, I don't think so. That programming. Are you guys aware that, like, the parents or adults in the environment are kind of what dictates whether or not you'll tap into the toxic parts of your birth order? Where they kind of like, their perception of you is what shapes your role in the family. Like, my Gerber baby, I totally celebrated that he was more heavy-handed. I did. I totally celebrated that he was more heavy-handed, and I made up this song when he was less than a year old, and I was like, "Who's my rough boy? Who's my rough boy?" And he would go like this, and now I regret doing that, because then it was cute, because he wasn't really rough. You know what I mean? He wasn't really rough. Um, he just was rougher in comparison to the other kids, because they were all excessively gentle, like excessively gentle. So he's the one, my Gerber boy, is the one that took on the role of being the kid in the family that is rougher than the others. He's not a rough boy. He is one of the sweetest kids you can ever come across. Like, he's ridiculously sweet, and he's gentle compared to the other siblings. He was a little more heavy-handed with the toys. He was probably the only one who in their toddlerhood would bash the toys together. And that's why he was called Rough Boy. And now I look back and it's like, damn, I totally programmed him to think he's the rough one in the family, and he's so not. My kids aren't rough. They're not rough. And you have to be careful about taking in, allowing people who are the adults of your environment but have never worked on their toxicity, taking in their toxicity and owning it as your own. Like, just because someone in your environment as you were growing up was toxic AF does not mean you have a free pass to remain toxic as an adult yourself. You don't. You don't. And this concept of like, and I'm not trying to tell people how to parent, but these are thoughts that should be shared. This concept of, I was beat as a kid, but I turned out fine. Well, if you think laying hands on someone else because they're not behaving in the way that you want them to behave, the way that you dictate they behave, if you think that that's okay, then no, you didn't turn out fine. If you don't recognize what was done to you as something that you were not okay with, then no, it's not fine. You didn't turn out fine. You didn't. You fractionated yourself. You were fractured and you became fragmented, and you allowed that to be this like festering wound that, just put more band-aids. And I don't know that you need any more band-aids. Wait, what? Your mom-in-law was jealous and made a comment like maybe we should stay with her because she's biological. Well, your dad's biological. I don't know. When someone already shows you that type of toxicity, it's just my personal opinion. That's the last person you should live with. When someone's already like trying to dictate things and the baby's not yet there, um I don't know. Me personally, that's the last person I would want to live with. I don't care if it's biological, step parent, cousin, auntie, uncle. I really don't care. When you toxic, you toxic. Me and my child don't need to be around that. Like, mm-mm. What's your baby daddy think? I have such specific views on that. Let me leave that topic alone. So, rebirth in reverse, that passion and that rebirth, it's stalled. It's not happening right now. It's not to say it's not going to happen. It's to say not right now. Okay? Not right now. Lack of stability. Okay? Birth cannot happen if the woman feels unsafe. It can't happen if the woman feels unsafe. That's the thing. Like, if you're looking at actual birth. So I went into labor with one of my kids and they checked me and I was 4 centimeters already. And baby's head was like -2 station. So there's -3, -2, -1, 0 is when the head is actually on the cervix. And then +1, +2, +3, that's when it's actually traveling down the birth canal. Its head's engaged actively in the birth canal, right? So I was like at -2 ish, 4 centimeters. Doctor came in, checked me, and was like, "You're definitely giving birth. So we're going to admit you now." She sends the nurse in. She leaves the room. The nurse comes in. Not all nurses are built the same. I tell you that. And this nurse is like, "Okay, mama, I'm going to put your IV in." And I'm like, no, my birth plan. I want to stick to my birth plan. And she goes, "Okay, I'm just going to do your IV first." No, it's in my birth plan. I don't remember what my birth plan was at this point. But I think it was like, I don't want any IVs unless it's absolutely necessary. Right. And she goes, "I'll check your birth plan after." I said, "No, you'll check it now." Like, I don't even want you on my team. You need to leave the room. Like, I don't even want you on my team. Because if you can't respect what I'm saying, I understand not everything I want for my birth is going to happen. It's not going to go according to plan. But if you're already disregarding my decisions and you just entered the room, bye-bye. You need to go. And she's like trying to argue with me. And I got so upset. And then finally she left the room. And I was so upset that the baby who was coming down towards my cervix already, the doctor checked me again. I think like the doctor was called back in because I was so upset. I started raising my voice. And the doctor came back in and then she checked me again. And she's like, "Oh, yep, you have 0 dilation. I can't even feel the baby's head." The baby went all the way back up. I was like, "Yeah, because she upset me." She really upset me. And if the woman feels unsafe, any animal, any mammal that gives birth will be delayed. That's a survival thing. If you are allowed to feel so unstable and unsafe in that instability, you will not birth yourself. You just won't. You won't. Things will be halted. It'll be paused. Because really, if you're needing to focus on survival, there's really no luxury, no room for that luxury of that spiritual rebirth. Why do you think the world functions the way it does? You're constantly made to feel unsafe. And the people who you're following, these leaders, keep leading you to the slaughter. There are some choice ass words. Mm-hmm. Go Brandon. I'm just saying. I'm not into politics. But, when we just keep blindly following things, and watching the news, if we're going to be really honest, it's a program to keep you in a perpetual state of fear. The world is much safer than what the news will allow you to believe. The world is much safer than that. It's not a perfect place. Yes, crimes still happen. Yes, there is still a lot of separation, division, all of that ugly stuff. Yes, there is. But is it as dangerous as we're being told? Over the years, there's been information that's come out, and it's only been allowed to be put out on tour because it's like you're censored. The things you watch, the things you can access, if you're not running a VPN, is censored. There's a lot of content that we in the United States, the free nation, the leader of the free nations, we're not allowed to see that. So I watched this video last night, right? Totally, my brain's like all over the place all the time. I watched this video last night, and there's been quite a few different videos on my TikTok feed talking about the volcano stuff. I don't want to get into that in the Canary Islands. Kind of just wishful thinking that that's not something. And then here's the thing that really messed up my head last night. Someone posts a video. They're in Galveston, Texas. That's like Gulf of Mexico area. The shoreline has receded. The waves look like they're about a quarter mile from the shore. They're natural. I mean, like it was far. It looked like about a quarter mile from the shoreline. Why is the water receded like that? And then I think back about like what happened in Phuket, Thailand. I was just like, "Oh, get off the shoreline, please. Oh, please get off that shoreline. I don't please don't stay in the shoreline. Please don't." And that's the extent that I wanna talk about that. It's disturbing to me. It's very upsetting, so I'm just gonna leave that at that. I wanna preserve my attitude for the rest of the week. I wanna preserve it. But yeah, so the shoreline's super far. And then I remember Phuket, and then when the water came, security. Secure yourself within your life, within your field. Allow yourself to really establish what you need to feel secure in your life. Which people need to be removed? First and foremost, which people need to be removed from your life? I know you probably were like, "Oh my god, damn, she went straight for the jugular." No. I don't see you as attacking anyone. When you're going for the jugular, you're going for the most vulnerable spot that will neutralize whatever's threatening your peace, whatever you're trying to take down, right? So for me, because I don't harm other people, I never intentionally harm other people. Um, I never really have this intent of taking people down. So I don't see it in that way. I see the statement of like who needs to be removed more as like a cleanser. Like, all right, so I know myself. I know that I have this habit of allowing people who are extremely toxic to me, who put me in a toxic mindset. I have this habit of allowing them to stay far beyond their expiration date. Um, um, you can't be everyone's mama, savior, Lord, goddess. You cannot. Now you have to be honest with yourself. Who is in your life as a person project? Who is in your life because it's a mutually beneficial thing? Who is in your life because they help you to feel safe? And the ones that are toxic, like, why are you keeping them there? Because you need a project? Why do you need a project for? Hmm? Are you trying to get away with not doing the work you need to do on yourself? The observation that diving deeper into your own truth, is that what it is? And just a simple conversation with yourself, or you could totally be as firm as you need to be. Pisceans, we can definitely find an excuse for everything. We literally have an excuse for everything, especially when it comes to toxic people in our lives, especially the toxic people. We take into consideration everything about their history except the part where they chose to stay that way. Ooh, are you guilty of that? Where you're considering everything about that person's history, everything from childhood to adolescence to young adulthood to full on adulthood. You taking every single event that you're aware of into consideration regarding why they behave so toxically. The only thing you don't want to take into consideration is the part where they chose to stay that way. That's a decision. We have to stop. We have to. If you are strong and aware enough, if you're strong enough and aware enough to understand the issues that are playing out before you and they're causing you to feel some sort of way, you're tasked to be the one to guide everyone out of that situation by speaking your truth or leaving the environment. It's no longer an option to stay in an environment that makes you feel some kind of negative way without speaking your truth. That's fine. If you want to stay in that environment, that's fine. But you have to speak, excuse me, your truth. You have to. Because if not, you're complicit in the continuation, the sustenance, the sustaining of that toxicity. We have to exit this thing that we think like, oh, okay, someone's starving, so let me cut a piece of my leg off. Let me cut off a piece of my thigh. Cannibalizing yourself and your energy. Tell me that's not disgusting when I put it in those terms. Tell me it's not disgusting. Because that's exactly what we do consistently. We hack off pieces of our divinity and feed it to others. It's cannibalism, etheric cannibalism. Does that seem a little less okay when we put it in those terms? Are you understanding the gravity of what you're doing? You're not just being a nice person doing these things. You're being cannibalistic. Or you're allowing other divine beings to consume. It's gross. It's gross. And it's like, oh my God, you could have put it a different way. Well, which other way? I mean, how many times have I discussed this topic specifically? Yet it still comes up. So, no, I couldn't have put it another way. You wouldn't allow me to. It's about accountability. When soul tells me you didn't receive the message when I put it in a nice way, it then gets put in a different way. A way that can be more readily received, maybe in a not so favorable way, favorable light or whatever, basically nasty. But that's what it is. It's nasty. It is super duper nasty to give people all of you like that. You are for yourself. You are a gift to yourself before you are a gift to others. This boils down to not allowing yourself to receive, to emotional manipulation. Someone emotionally manipulated you into thinking that's the proper way to love people. And then you emotionally manipulated the people you love by making them think that I did all of this for you. Why won't you die for me the way I've killed myself for you? When you put it in those terms, I mean, whoo, is that what we're doing? Like Michael's bringing up this whole thing of, um, like, I don't want to see you with anyone else. I mean, I was miserable with you, but I don't want to see you being happy with anyone else. Why aren't you willing to be miserable with me the way I'm willing to be miserable because of you? Ooh. Oh my God. Oh my God. I never saw it in those terms. Damn. 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 There are people who exist who have reason after reason after reason why none of this applies to them. And, I'm feeling ballsy right now. You're probably the person that message is for. The ones who come up with all the reasons almost immediately after hearing that are probably the ones who are being triggered to really take a good hard look at themselves and their behaviors. And that's why they come up with the reasoning immediately. Message is probably for you. Now, if you're feeling attacked, that would be your higher self going for your throat, not me, because the reality still stands. This is a general reading, and I don't know who's in this room watching. The only one attacking is your ego, attempting to attack and silence the truth bubbling out of my mouth straight from your soul. Just saying. So we have to allow ourselves to get secure in where we're at in our lives, right? We have to take responsibility for the way our life has gone. Sometimes relationships end because a person can no longer tolerate you. And if that's why your relationship ended, you have to look at the parts of you that were just not tolerable. Not because you're the problem or you're a bad person, but because those are the parts of you that need the love from you, not from other people. Those are the parts that really need your attention so you can feel whole. So you can finally feel whole and stop looking for validation from other people. So I think only one of my relationships I was broken up with. That hurt my feelings so much. And it was this thing of like, why? Why? Why did my feelings get hurt? Did it have to do with some perception that I was having, and that perception led to an expectation, and that expectation led to a sense of disappointment, betrayal, and hurt because it didn't play out the way I was saying it needs to play out? Just because you think you need it doesn't mean you actually do. Just because you think you need it doesn't mean you actually do. It doesn't. I was at a point in my life where I totally felt like I was ready to commit to a relationship long term, like really invest in someone else. Because all the way up until that point, that specific relationship, I really was not invested in anyone. That's the reality of it. I have a hard time bonding with people. I do. I have some pretty intense, very pronounced um struggles with trust. It's not a trust issue. It's not an issue. I struggle to trust people because I can see beyond what you're saying to me. So up until that point, I was not anywhere near wanting, needing, thinking of actually fully investing in someone. I understood my age, which is like 19, 18, 19, something like that. Like that's young. That's young. And I was always very cognitively aware of how few years I've lived and how little life experience I had. But all the way up until that relationship, I was not willing or able to commit like that. Like I didn't want to invest in someone like that. And it just so happened for this relationship, I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally invested. Totally invested. Is it because that's the person that I was supposed to be in a relationship with? Because I met my husband after him. I met my husband after we broke up. A couple months. Maybe like 2 months or so. A month? I don't know. Maybe it was just a couple weeks. I don't know. Um, yeah, yeah. So, hmm. Was I really invested in that guy, or was I feeling the shifts within myself that was preparing me to receive what clearly at this point is the greatest love of my life? And because I didn't understand that due to my lack of life experience, I didn't understand that investment, that desire to invest in a relationship, a lifelong partnership was actually not for that person. It was for the person who was coming, the one that didn't arrive yet, the one that was coming. He was on the way. He was on the way. We don't know what we think we know. We know just a smidge of what actually is. And then life plays out and it either confirms that smidge or it completely negates it. And if you allow yourself to pause and really observe where that disappointment comes from, where that sense of entitlement to someone else's existence comes from. I mean, looking back now, obviously I have 2020 vision. Like it's clear, no, that was never for that person. That like I was feeling the approach of my actual destined love. I mean, to this day, to this day, I remember I was living in a condominium and my mom was visiting, um, and my husband was working, and I didn't know what time it was. I was washing dishes, and suddenly I just said out loud, "Oh, he's here." And my mom's like, "What?" I'm like, "Freight's home." She goes, "No, he's not." Yeah, he was. within like a minute or two, the time it takes to walk from the parking lot to the front door. He was opening the front door and she goes, "Stop being like that. Don't do that kind of stuff." And I'm like, "What?" She got scared. She's like, "How did you know he was here? Did he call you?" "I don't have my phone. I'm washing dishes." "How did you know he was here?" Because I felt him." Hello? Hello? Until now, like I'll be doing something. He's out running errands and I'll be like, "Oh, he's home." I can feel it. I can feel when he is further or coming closer. I can feel that. I can feel it. I can feel when whatever his path that he was going to take to run errands, he's deviated from that. I mean, half the time when I'm live streaming, if he runs errands, he doesn't interrupt the live stream. I mean, he's a big guy. He's an adult. He doesn't need to ask my permission. He just goes and I know like he's not home. I know. And it took me a very long time to know. It's him that I've been feeling. It's him. It's my husband. He's the one that I feel. He's the one that I was feeling before, where it's like, I thought it was time for me to commit to someone in that way. And it's like, I'm 19. I don't need to be committing to nobody in no freaking way. No, I'm not about promiscuity either. I'm kind of just like, I'm gonna mind my own business. No, I will not marry you. No, I don't really want to have kids with you. No, we don't want to play house. No, I don't need you to pay my car. No, I don't need you to do any of that. I'm gonna be right here being a 19-year-old working and going to school. Our perceptions can either lead us to our actual destiny or take us so much further from it. It's your very perceptions that can take you closer to your destiny or rip you away from it. Choose wisely what you'll do. Lack of prosperity. This ties into lack of responsibility. That lack of responsibility diminishes your sense of security, which then doesn't allow for the rebirth to occur. It further destabilizes you. It depletes your passion, your desire. It's okay for you to be driven. The spiritual people of the world will tell you money is the root of evil. No, it's what you do with it. That's the root of evil. It's when you hoard it. That's the root of evil. It's when you don't use that money and that power to benefit and uplift other people who can't do it for themselves. That's the root of all evil. One day I'll be ridiculously wealthy and I still won't be evil. I've already spent every penny in my head. My soul has already done the accounting. I know how all that money is going to be spent. And your girl really doesn't want anything fancy. I just don't. Yeah. I used to be teased. I used to be criticized. I'm the one in the family that, like, why do you always have to dress like you're homeless? How did you want me to dress? I remember one time I was an adult, full on adult. Okay. I think I was in my 30s already, actually. I was in the Philippines visiting family. My uncle passed away and I had been estranged from my father for some time already. It was his brother that passed away. And my mom was just hell bent. She needs to go. She needs to go. I'm like, Mom, you cannot travel by yourself. So then, long story short, I ended up going with her, and because I had a panic attack as I was buying the plane ticket, she then offered to fly my husband and my kids out because I've never left my family before, not even, no, never left my kids before. I had a panic attack, so she offered to bring all of us. And it was kind of like when there's a death in the family, people kind of reassess about what's important, and ego gets put aside for a little bit sometimes. And it was one of those situations. And I guess my father wanted to reconnect with me. And so he was being extra nice while we were there. Then one day he took me to the mall. I didn't want to buy anything. I mean, I got to carry all that back home with me. I'm good. I don't want to buy anything. I brought all the clothes I needed. I don't really want to buy anything. And he pulls me aside at the mall and he's like, "Do you not have any more money?" And I was like, "No." "Why? Why do you ask that?" He goes, "Just pick whatever you want. I'll pay for it." And I was like, "I have clothes. What are you talking about?" And he basically was like, "I mean, don't you feel ashamed? Like, pick some heels or something. Pick something expensive. Pick some high heels. Pick a designer purse, and I'll pay for it. I don't know why you keep dressing like you're homeless." I'm good. I'm good in my sandals. I am damn good in the clothes that I have right now. Um, I don't need any of that. Part of the reason why I'm so averse to the designer things in life is I have a very clear understanding. It was never really spoken, but it's very, very clear to me because as someone who is as empathic as I am, who can see as clearly as I can see, I've always been treated as an accessory. I was a show pony. My whole fucking childhood, I'm a show pony. I have to be smarter than everyone else in the class so they can brag about that. I have to have classical piano training so they can brag about that. I have to be the prettiest so they can brag about that. I have to have the longest, thickest hair so they can brag about that. I have to be dressed the fanciest so they can brag about that. I have to drive a Mercedes so they can brag about that. How about fuck you? How about I don't give a shit if you have nothing to brag about with me dressing homeless? How about that? Exactly. Free to be we. I feel like I can do something important without money. People had told me because I got married for the tax stuff. I don't believe in me needing permission to commit my life to my husband. So it's not, I'm just with him for convenience. No, no. I don't believe the government should be involved in what I choose to do with my life and my devotion. That's why I don't believe in traditional marriage. So I had no intention of spending $20,000 or $30,000 to show everyone that I'm now committed to this man. I went to City Hall, got a marriage license, and we got married. I didn't plan any reception or anything like that. Like whatever. Like I made a decision long before this. This is who I'm going to spend my life with. And it was this thing of like, you're not even gonna, oh my God, you're not even gonna like have an actual wedding ceremony? I'm already married. Why would I need to get married again? Well, to show people. Show people what? Like, why are you being that way? You want me to spend $20,000 to $30,000 on a wedding when I don't own my house yet? Um, that's going towards a down payment for a house. I'm not spending that on a wedding to show people how much I can spend on a wedding. And let me tell you guys this, not trying to shit on people who got married like that and spent like thousands on a dress and stuff like that. No, let me tell you something. Most of the people that I know that got married like that, where they had the full on ceremony and there were the bridesmaids and groom and all of, yeah, yeah, they're all divorced. And me and my shitty marriage ceremony. I'm still married. Tell me again how I'm supposed to conduct myself. I'm sorry. Say it to my good ear. Say it to my good dopey from the Seven Dwarfs ear. These people who think they know just because it's ritualistic. It's a ritual. And I remember my relatives were like, "Don't you want to at least have your marriage blessed by God? You know, at least get married in the church and have the priest bless it." I'd like to think the fact that I'm willing to agree to spend my entire life with this specific person for the rest of my life is evidence of the blessing, is it not? Because really, I'm really, really good by myself. I'm really, really good by myself. I love solitude. Not even joking. I love solitude. I love long expanses of not talking, not saying a single word. I mean, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like, if you're my neighbor, we'd be chatting all day. No, you won't even see me. Yep. A ritual that starts with you in debt, paying all that money for a party for other people. Yep. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I definitely believe what I have with Ray was blessed by creation itself before we ever got married. He met me twice. He met me twice. Mm. Oh, that's poetic. I heard. So I was like, he met me twice. And Michael says, the first time you met was so you knew what you were waiting for. Well, damn. Okay. I accept that. Well, damn. I guess he's a big deal. Mhm. It's just one of those things where it's like, do I need other human beings to understand the process that I'm in, the truth that I'm living? Do you? From marriage to friendships to business partnerships to opportunities, projects, potentiality, purpose, destiny. Do other people need to understand? Hell, I don't even understand. But I know, I trust, I have the utmost faith and this continuously developing sense of knowing whatever I'm supposed to be, I'm already on my way to that. Every day brings me one day closer. And I don't need to understand. I don't need to plan. I don't need to premeditate or any of that. This destiny is my life. By me living, by me being who I am, it's just my life. It's just my life. And it's okay to be alive in this way. People think that you have no purpose or you're not living your purpose unless you keep yourself busy. You know that saying? Idle hands are the devil's playthings. So is a busy mind. When you keep yourself so busy with all of that pretense, um, you don't even know what you're working towards. You don't know what you're being thrown at. How do you know you're on the right path? How do you know that your goals are in alignment with who you were designed to be? There's a design that exists before you're even born. And this design is absolutely in alignment with your actual purpose, your truth. I once worked with this fashion house. They saw my work, they approached me, and they wanted me to shoot pictures for their catalog. This when I was still a fashion photographer and makeup artist. So this fashion house, it's a smaller house. Bring all their clothes, right? They're taking care of all the wardrobe. They showed me the different samples of hair and makeup for both the women and the men. There was a lot of models I was working with. It's just all me by myself. She gave me a sense of the vision that she was trying to create, the feel. That's all I needed to know. And she was there. The owner was there while I was doing the photo shoot because she needed to style all of the models, right? All of these models were selected by her, by the way. And I'm just like, you're going to need to stop. You can't see what I'm seeing through the camera. I'm going to need you to stop instructing the models because you're ruining all the pictures. Boy, oh boy, she didn't like hearing that. She didn't like hearing that. And I had to be upfront. You paid me to provide a service. You paid me for an end product. If you get in the way of my creative process, I won't be able to deliver. And that will be your fault. I will not refund you. Do you want me to deliver? Do you want me to? Or do you want to have stupid pictures? Because if you're doing a high-end line, that's a stupid pose in a catalog. That's really a stupid looking pose. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yeah, just don't even stand behind me. Go work with the other models and prepare them for their turn. Like, don't even look. Don't even look. No, I'm not going to show you any samples as I'm shooting. You gave me examples of what you wanted for an end product. If you wanted to control everything, you should have just took like a point and shoot, got your friends together and do it yourself. That's the reality of it. If you don't know the technicalities of how to produce whatever it is, why are you interfering? So then what ended up happening? I went through basically like a 16-hour day. I shot an entire fucking catalog in one day. And then I told her, like, listen, I'm going to need a few days to do post-production editing, and I'll send you all the samples once I'm done. I'll send you all the proofs, and you can let me know which ones you want me to edit all the way. I'll do some quick shifts in the levels and stuff, but I can edit everything. Whichever ones you select, because it's literally thousands of pictures, thousands. On average, I'd take maybe 5,000 to 6,000 images in one photo shoot on average. And that's for one person. There were about 10 people. So do the math. And when she got the proofs, I emailed it to her. She actually called me right away and she was like, I'm in tears. Like, I never understood how beautiful my clothes could look in pictures. And I was like, yeah, you have very high quality items, beautifully tailored, the structure of it, everything. And she's like, I'm very happy. And I'm like, I'm glad. I'm glad you're crying because you're happy. And she told me she was crying because she was so embarrassed. And I was like, why are you embarrassed? She's like, I have problems with control. And I'm very sorry that I overstepped boundaries if I disrespected you. And I was like, it wasn't even about the respect or feeling disrespected. It was about me understanding you're a reflection of me. I have control issues as well. And I had to assert myself in such a way because you could not see what I was seeing. And there was no way I had the luxury of showing you every single shot. Because reality is, when you're working at that level, I'm taking bursts. You're not going to be posed. The hallmark of a good model is you are fluid, you keep moving, you know your angles, your light. When the camera is low, you know how to elongate your body. You could be 5'7", I'll make you look 6 foot. And she never understood that her control issues, up until that point, she never understood that her control issues are the very thing that's kept her fashion house small. So she ran an entire campaign off those pictures. And I told her, you saw something in the work that I do. Trust me to be competent enough to do for you what I've done for every single other client that I've had. You saw something in me. It wasn't just a potential. You saw what I deliver, the quality, and that's what you wanted. Trust me. And that's what your soul is telling you. That's what your soul is telling you. Trust me. Allow me to bring this to fruition in the way that's for your greatest good. Just that trusting, that sense of like, I don't know as much as I think I know. I have very limited life experience. Even at 40 something years old, I have very limited life experience. I haven't lived in other regions of the world. I haven't experienced as many cultures as I would love to experience. I haven't even experienced subcultures within the cultures of the United States. As articulate as I seem, as intelligent as I seem, I have very limited life experience. I've never even had a, what's it called? I don't know. What's it called? Gnocchis. I don't know. Starts with a G. Gnocchis? Is that what is how it's pronounced? It's potato. I can't have potato. I can't have potato. I barely had Indian food last year for the first time in my life. And then I was addicted. Like, oh, curry me, baby, curry me. Yeah. And then I was addicted. How could I ever make these like profound assumptions about things I've never experienced? And I say this as someone I grew up very closely with an Indian. She was my best friend for so many years. We even carpooled to school for several years. We carpooled, and I'd never once had curry of any kind. My oldest son was in a learning center. It was some program for toddlers, very advanced program. And literally, he was the only child in that oh, no, him and one other. Oh, no, three. There's three other kids, and it was the three of them that were like Eastern Asian, and then the rest of the program, literally all the other kids were Indian, and I'd never had curry before. Not a single time. His best friend, my son's best friend, was Indian, and I was really good friends with his mom. Never had curry. Yet I had made up my mind that I don't like curry. And then when I finally had curry, oh my God. I don't like curry. I love it. I love it. Oh my God. With some coconut. Damn. It's so good. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I went 40 something years. 40 something years of I don't like curry. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Well, then how do you know you don't like it? Because I said I don't. But you've never tried it. And then my husband, like, we're so different, but we're also so the same. For quite a few years when we first started dating, y'all are gonna gasp. He said burritos are nasty. The fuck you say to me? He said burritos are nasty. He refused to eat a burrito. The fuck you say to me? You realize we're in Caliphas, right? The fuck is wrong with you? He's like, I hate burritos. What? He talking about I said, that's not a burrito. That's bullshit. Taco Bell is what? No, that's not even Mexican food. What's wrong with you? So I had enough, and I was like, we're getting Burrito Supremo. It's this one restaurant. It's like this family run, like it's this fast food. Like they don't have drive through, but they make it right in front of you real quick, and you just go. It's called El Burrito Supremo, baby. Boo! He tried it one time. He's like, shit, I've been missing out. I'm like, you fucking crazy ass man. I don't like burritos. Fuck out of here with that shit. You don't like burritos?
Hey,
what?
Let's get the record straight.
What?
Mexican food. I didn't like Mexican food because I didn't eat Mexican food. I ate only Filipino food. Actually, American
I don't like your tone, sir.
I like round table pizza. Okay?
I don't like your tone.
After how many years I've missed out on a burrito. The burrito.
So I gave him that, right? I was like, bitch, you fucking eating this shit or we're breaking up. I can't be with someone that don't like burrito. I don't know what the fuck happened to you as a child. Like, you're eating this shit. Take a bite. And he's like, oh, it's hella good. If the burrito was for me. Luckily, it's like this big because it's El Burrito Supremo. Supremo. Okay. Supremo. Shit was fucking huge. And so I said, you need to take a bite. And he took a bite. This motherfucker ate the whole burrito. I was like, how the fuck you gonna finish my burrito? I said, take a bite. A bite. Not eat the whole damn thing. What am I gonna eat? And, I kicked my own ass for introducing him to burritos because for the next week, maybe 2 weeks, every single meal was El Burrito Supremo. I'm like, oh, I'm so fucking sick of burrito. Can we just not? Can we just not? Like no one gives a shit if you like burritos now. Because then he kept talking to everyone about the burritos. And I just had to be really Cap Moon for a second, be like, no one gives a shit. No one fucking cares if you now like burritos. We're sick of it. All of us, the whole world. We're fucking sick of it. Stop with the burritos. I'm just saying. Just like no one cares. You've never tried a burrito? Well, that statement is not the same as saying you don't like it. So we'll leave that alone. It's time for you to come out of your shell. It's time. Come out of your shell. Allow yourself to kind of just like, you know, do your thing. Just come out of the shell. I'm super hot now. Got all emotional about burritos, how he ate my burrito and then tortured me with burritos for the following 2 weeks or so. It's all good. It's part of the learning. It's just part of the learning, okay? It's part of the learning. We're just gonna let him get away with that for now. But for a while, because of that, I was just like, fuck burritos. I fucking hate burritos. Like their burritos were so big that they would take the largest possible size flour tortilla. Okay. And they would take two of them. They would overlap them like this. That's how big their burritos are. Just saying. Burrito Supreme. That they closed down because fucking COVID. I don't know. Maybe they closed down before that. I don't know. Who knows? Let's pull out a couple cards from this deck. Okay. He burritoed me out. It was just like carne asada. Woo. He burritoed me out. Damn. No, I can't eat out today. I need to get right with the Lord inside me. I've been eating a lot of like high salt food, so my face is super swollen. I'm retaining so much water. See that? And I barely press it. I'm so bloated. It's ridiculous. Anyways. One more shuffle and I'll get the cards. And if you're ever in California, NorCal, I don't think they have it in SoCal. Excuse me. La Piñata. That's all I got to say. La Piñata. La Piñata. Frey said, sometimes you got to show a burrito, you a burrito. Funny thing is, he totally looks like he loves burritos. But at that time, I was so shocked. Like, what the fuck you say? You hate burritos? Orale pues. The fuck? And then he mentioned Taco Bell. Like, that's not a fucking burrito. Are you kidding me? That's not real food. All right, guys. Let's. Ooh, wait. Okay. Let's see what's going to happen. Wheel of Fortune, elevation of money, overseas trip, completion of phases. You're completing the phases that you're in. As you complete it, you cycle up to a new cycle, a higher level of learning. Now, if you're going to sit and gripe about the process you're in to learn, then you're not going to learn. Bottom line, you're not going to learn. And that's on you. I got to be like a harsh mama like that for a second. So destiny, fortune, outcome, culmination, good or bad luck, depending on influences of nearby cards, inevitability. Ooh, okay, so something's inevitable, destiny. That's the whole topic, right? Oh, are you in sack? Banchan chicken. I've never had banchan, but my son talks about banchan so much, like because it's breaded or battered or something like that. So I can't have it. But banchan chicken, boo. Like he almost never gets mad at his dad, but he got mad at his dad that one day where his dad was like, "No, we don't need to get chicken." I had to take his side for a second. Like, how are you going to tell my son to the point where he's so upset now? I'm buying him chicken. And then my husband tried it, and next thing you know, he's like, "Oh, banchan is so good." I've never tried it though. They all rave about it. But destiny, we keep talking about destiny in this reading, and it's this thing of your destiny is already programmed. The way in which you will live or arrive into that destiny is what's in question. And if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to volunteer as the GPS system? How are you going to do that? Why would you do that? That's an ego problem. That's an ego problem. When you begin to live in such a way where you feel like you have to prove things to other people, that is an ego based problem. That is how you mess yourself up every single time. That's an ego problem. Correct the ego. You don't got to kill it. Let's not be violent on a spiritual level. You don't have to kill your ego. You have to balance it. The ego exists for a reason. And I'll tell you some of my thoughts on this. For people who don't really have a profound purpose, and that's okay if you don't have a profound purpose, okay? That's okay. So, for people who don't have a profound purpose, oftentimes your ego, when it's imbalanced, will cause you to feel an inflated sense of importance. For those that do have a profound purpose, and what I mean by that is you're in this life to serve humanity in some way, your ego will be structured so that when it flares, you're going to feel really, really small. It's to keep balance. It's to keep balance. Now, there's a lot of things that I say in live streams which would cause someone who doesn't really pay attention to what I'm getting at to think that I'm just full of myself or that I'm excessively confident. And the reality is, if you really observe, when I say things like I'm going to be wealthy someday soon, it's going to happen. When I say that I have a huge purpose, when I say that people will fly in, a stadium full of people have flown in from the entire world to hear me speak, you'll see the discomfort in that. It's not me like bragging. It's like, okay, well, these are things, I mean, I don't know if I believe it, but everything my soul has said has played out as my soul has said. So I just need to kind of come to terms with one day I'm going to live that situation that I've been shown. It'll be fine. I'll be uncomfortable. I'll probably be nervous. I'll get through it though. I'll get through it and I'll continue to live my purpose. Allow yourself to just live, to just be. A lot of the things that I say where it makes me sound or be received as someone who's very confident, these are things my soul is telling me to say out loud so you can hear it. Do I really feel that way about myself? Sometimes I believe it. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know. Wow, me of all people? Like, of the billions of people in this world, really? Me, I'm the special one. Okay, that makes sense because, sure, right. Like, I barely talk to people in real life, but I'm going to be like this profound public speaker. Okay, fucking sure. If you say so. If you say so. Do I need to understand to be who I am? Do I need to be like, no, I believe it? Or do I need to just be like, okay, I'm open, everything you've said so far happens. And so I guess we'll see when we see, right? We'll see when we see. I'll believe it when I see it. And then if I see it, I guess then, sure. I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. Whatever. I don't know. Sure. And it's okay for me to be that way. It's okay for me to be open to my life unfolding in the way that my soul is showing me while I am kind of skeptical. I'm kind of like, I don't know. Sounds a little sounds a little far-fetched, but I mean, I just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. That's all I really wanted. That was the goal. But who gives a shit about your goals? If your goal is not in alignment with what your actual purpose is, what you came into this life to be, to live, you still don't care if that's your goal. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. And it doesn't need to care. Because if your goal is to make yourself smaller than what you actually are, to play small, I don't know. My husband, so he's a Gemini. He'd be my biggest hype man ever. Like my biggest hype man ever, I swear. And sometimes it's just like, stop. It sounds so obnoxious. But I know he's part of my life to the degree that he is, which is a very, very deep, profound degree. Because these are things that I probably need to hear. Why do I need to hear it? I don't know. I just know that he says these things when I need to hear it. And there's times where he just tries to hype me up so much and is like, you're a big fucking deal. Yeah, maybe to you. No, I'm not. And yeah, you are. Like, stop. For real. That sounds asinine. Man, he doesn't care. He says it. He tells me that. He has conversations with the kids about this, and so they're my hype people too. Like, my mom's a big deal. You guys, I'm like I'm inside a closet live streaming. I don't know that that's a big deal. Do I need to believe that I'm a big deal to serve my purpose? I mean, is it okay for people outside of me to see me as something that's a big deal to them personally? I mean, isn't that okay for them? Like, do I have to control that? Do I have to convince you that, no, you got that wrong, I'm not a big deal? Like, do I have to involve myself in that? Do I have to be that and believe that at the same time in order to be that? I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, whether I am or I'm not, I got to work every day. I got to work every day. I got to show up for my clients. I got to live stream. I got to show up for you guys. And it's not, you guys, no, don't start with like, you give so much to us. No, it's a mutually beneficial thing when I live stream. Not only do I say things that are sometimes received as personal messages for you, I also uncover truths within myself as I say these things. It's a mutually beneficial thing. I'm showing up for us. You're showing up for us. We're showing up for each other. It's a mutually beneficial thing. So, I mean, do I need to believe I'm the shit in order to show up? No. I'd like to think that you show up because I don't act like I'm so much above you, where you feel like you finally found a place where you're accepted and you're equal, where you feel your potentiality as deeply as I can see it within you. I'd like to think that that's part of why you show up, not for the novelty of me and what I say, but because it feels like home. And home is where you can take off all the waist trainers and, the tight gear and take off the makeup and just be in jammies and be comfortable. Right? Isn't that what home is? And the sad thing is, most of us don't have that home in real life. We can only find it here online because the people in our lives don't give us permission to be who we are. And you never needed their permission. You never needed their permission. You just didn't. You didn't need their permission. You don't need their guidance. You can do your life all on your own terms, at your own time, growing in the way you choose, allowing yourself to go through the processes. And it's okay as you go through those processes. It's okay if you don't believe, if it's hard to comprehend, hard to accept. I've been saying this a lot recently, where it's like, if you had asked me 5 years ago, if I would be sharing to the degree that I share right now, if I would have found my voice in the way I've found it and use it at this point, no way. No way. There's no way. I would never say those things. Like, oh my God, people would be so offended. Like, no, you can't say that type of stuff. And here I am blurting shit out. Like, listen, you're going to do what you're going to do anyways. Let me just say shit real quick. How liberating is that? How liberating is it that I took the shackles off my own neck? That no longer will I be dragged as my voice is silenced. That I've come to a point where I completely understand I am actually powerful enough to handle anything my life sends me. Whether it's hate from large groups, whether it's adoration, it's whatever, those two extremes and everything that exists in between, I can handle anything my life sends me. Because really, the extreme hate and the extreme adoration are both uncomfortable places for me. I'm not here to be adored. I'd like to just get the messages out, whatever they might be, share whatever I feel called to share, and then go back to obscurity. That's my comfortable space. It's not even comfortable space for me. For people to be fond of me. I'm kind of just like, I don't know. What if I disappoint you? What if you're not seeing the real me? Like, I don't know. What if you think I'm not what you thought before and then suddenly you don't like me? I mean, what needs to happen in life for us to just be okay with existing? Where we're no longer trying to appease others. We're no longer trying to play a role. And it's not just Pisceans that do this. Like every other sign does this. Every other sign does this. So I was talking about astrology to my kids. I don't know shit about astrology, but we're talking about sun signs. My son asks, yeah. So, okay. I told one of my kids, like, yeah, you totally have Aries all out your chart, like through everything. You got Aries left and right. So you got to make sure that you really, really regulate that temper. Okay. And then so the other one's like, oh, well, then what am I? I'm like, you're a Taurus. And he's like, what's a Taurus? Like a bull. So basically, for the rest of the day, he's like running around like, I'm a cow. I was like, baby, can you stop? I'm a cow, mom. I was like, you're a bull. But that doesn't mean that, don't charge at your siblings. Don't run at them like that because, he's like, I'm a cow. I like, baby, it's a bull. It's a bull. And he asked me like, what does the bull do? And I was like, well, that's saying bullheaded, where it's like you can be stubborn sometimes, and because I have horns. He didn't even hear the other part that I was saying. I have horns. Yeah. And then the other one was like, well, what am I? And I'm like, oh, you're a Cancer. And he's like, I'm Cancer? And I was like, no, not like disease. He's like, are you sure? And it's like, not like disease. Cancer, it's a crab. It's a crab. It has pinchers. And he's like, do I have two pinchers? I was like, yeah, you got two. He goes, grab his horns. I was like, no, guys, no. The other was like, I got horns. I can grab his horns. Y'all better quit. That's it. I'm gonna go garden. I'm just gonna go garden. I can't do this with you guys. I just can't. And they're like, well, mommy, what are you? I was like, I'm a fish. And then they look at each other like, she's just a fish. I'll drown you. They asked what their older brother is, and I'm like, oh, that's Aquarius. And they're like, what's that? I was like, oh, it's a person holding a vase of water. And they're like, Mom. And I'm like, what? Like, that's so mean. Like, what does that mean for? They're like, so you're saying our brother he's just gonna like hold our drink? You better not let him hear you say that. Aquarius will cut you the fuck down with words. You lucky he not home right now. Don't ever say that kind of stuff to him. He will cut you down with his words. Don't. don't. And they're just like, oh, she's serious. Yeah, I was just like, that's not the one. He's civil right now. Don't push him out of that civil box. He will, you know, and you just don't come to me when you're crying because he hurt your feelings. Don't come to me crying because he hurt your feelings. You start shit, there'll be shit. don't come to me. I'm not part of that. So they're learning about astrology. No, that was the end of the astrology. I was just like, listen, I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm astro illiterate. 6 of Cups, happy house, childhood memories. Let's look what that means. I think there's more to that than what that saying says. Past influences, nostalgia, faded images. I'm wondering if this has to do with karmic stuff because we have the Wheel of Fortune, elevation of money, overseas trip, completion of phases, destiny, and then past influences. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Money fluctuations, being offered something you may not want. Ooh. So it's like a reconnection that maybe you don't want, a past influence. Maybe this is a period we're dealing with karmic stuff. 'Cause 4 plus 6 is 10, right? This is part of your destiny, and this is how it plays out. 4 of Cups, 6 of Cups. So this is maybe past life memories, a past life connection of some kind. Let's see if 4 Cups has something else. Weariness, aversion, disgust, disappointment, bitter experience, a stationary period. So I'm wondering if something's happened in the past. It might be past life that's kind of karmic bleed over into this period, and it's causing you to avoid whatever this destiny is. But remember, we're already being told you need to come out of your shell, right? That exoskeleton. Ooh, subdermal skeletal. Okay, sorry. Mm-hmm. La, 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 la. Bow to your partner. Okay. Oh, so disappointment, failure to face facts, indecision, divorce, procrastination, theft, alienation of affections, imperfection, failure to complete the task one starts, lack of vision. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful with how you proceed, how you decide, what you choose to do. Okay? What you choose to do in this period is going to greatly determine how you experience this period. Whether it's going to be something profound, cathartic, or it's going to be, oh shit, sorry, I flipped it. Or it's going to be something that, yeah, hmm, or it's going to be something difficult. Careful of what you allow yourself to get involved in, especially if it's um, someone else's stuff, someone else's like issues. Right? Be very, very careful with that. It feels almost like someone, ooh, ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. This might not even be your issue. It's this sense of someone is trying to use you and your desire to support to coerce someone else into compliance. I think you're being manipulated. I think you're being manipulated. For some of you, there's something going on. Someone is manipulating you with a poor, poor me story. I'm pretty fucking pissed. I'm pretty fucking pissed. Sorry, guys. The air is super dry and my lips are cracked. I got windburn, so I have to keep putting. This is actually pretty good. I got this like as a sample. It's pretty good. Pretty good. It's called Cocoa Kind My Matcha. I'm about to put some under my eyes too. Bitch, we need to stay moisturized, hydrated up in here. Just some people's dry ass attitudes and dry ass situations are being placed on your shoulders. This is a period of liberation. Okay. This is a period of liberation. And it's almost like whoever is trying to control someone else is stopping at no point in their attempt to continue to retrieve their power back. Come hell or high water, they're going to take that control back. And whoever they need to use, they will use. Pisceans and empaths, don't allow yourself to get involved in that. Do not allow yourself to get involved in that and allow other people's manipulations to weaponize you. I gotta message someone. I gotta really message someone. Yeah. I think this yeah. Page of Cups. Basic good news. Let's see what happens here. That's all cups. Cups and major arcanas. A studious and intent person, reflective, loyal, willingness to offer services and efforts. See, that's like Piscean empath energy, where, you know, it's like you're trying to be reflective, you're trying to be loyal, You're trying to put effort into correcting a situation that really it's not for you to correct. Now, this even applies to when it's your situation. When someone continues to be offensive to you, toxic towards you, toxic around you, you don't necessarily have to sit them down and let them know like you're being toxic. Sometimes this is just an opportunity for you to choose yourself, your learning, your peace. You don't always have to be the peacemaker. Michael says, oftentimes the one who makes the peace creates an internal war. Like, there's been plenty of situations where I've been forced to be the peacekeeper in situations, plenty. And I found that it's like, as both start to vent to me, and this hasn't happened in a long time, but as both start to vent to me, it becomes this really painful thing for me. Like, I wish I could just say something, but I can't because I'm trying to keep the peace. And if I say something, then they're going to think that so and so said this to me, and then they're going to go that person, and that person's going to think that I've been betraying their trust. Yeah, I think it's time to choose yourself. I definitely feel like it's time for you to kind of just bow out of whatever it is. Just gracefully bow out, like, I'm good, let me just leave that alone. 9 of Cups, improvements underway, feeling smug or pleased. See, I really just feel like someone thinks that you can be used to strong arm someone else. Like, are you okay with that? Are you okay with being a flying monkey? Are you okay with being an enabler? I feel really pissed right now. I'm gonna be really honest. I feel really, really pissed right now. Like, I've been having these feelings for a couple weeks now, like not many weeks, but just a couple. And the realizations are really, really setting in. The realizations of what I've been feeling and the things that I keep telling myself, like, no. I think you're misreading that. No, it can't be that. Oh, no, it's absolutely that. It's absolutely that. It's absolutely that. Oof. So let's see. 9 of Cups, success, advantage, well-being, abundance, good health, difficulties surmounted. You'll be successful in the stepping away from whatever the situation is. Like I said, sometimes situations are allowed to be experienced by you so that you can choose yourself and step away from it. Whether it's someone else doing this to you or someone else trying to involve you in what they're doing to someone else, follow your gut. Follow your gut. Right. Failure, sudden collapse of plans, unrealistic plans. So I'm wondering, is that what the masculine is? Ooh, all of a sudden the masculine is upside down in the deck. I don't know if he was upside down to begin with. I'll take it at face value right now. This is an upside down masculine, a male or someone who has masculine energy. Their plans are going to fail. It's a lot. It's a lot. There's going to be freedom eventually. There's going to be freedom. 6 of Swords, a tripper journey, headstrong attempts to overcome difficulties, expedient manner, success after anxiety. boat or over water travel, turning boat out of troubled waters into calmer ones. And sometimes the only way to turn a boat, excuse me, sometimes the only way to turn a boat out of turbulent waters is to recognize that you've entered into the turbulent waters. You know, like you can't turn a boat out of something unless you know what you've turned it into. Hangman in reverse, lack of sacrifice, unwillingness to make the necessary effort, egotism, useless sacrifice. So, whatever this unbalanced masculine energy is, it's caused a lot of issues. There's a lack of sacrifice on their end. They're unwilling to make the necessary effort, meaning they're unwilling to recognize what the actual F they're doing, their behaviors. Oftentimes, when someone feels like they really got you like that, like I had this conversation with my husband right at the very beginning, just because, trauma response. Um, yeah, it wasn't that there was an issue, but I told him straight up, like, I don't care if we have kids together, like, I'll still leave. Like, I'm not stuck with anyone ever. I'm still capable of leaving at any point. Like, if it's toxic and stuff, I'll leave. I'll leave. He was kind of like, what the fuck? What? Trauma response? But what I'm thinking about is like, that just popped in my head though. What I'm thinking about is this toxic masculine energy is like, no, you can't ever leave. Like, that's not an option. An example of this, Will Smith. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. Now, I believe Jada Pinkett had kind of come under fire again over the last couple of days because she made a few statements at her Red Table Talk. And people took it in whatever way they took it. I really don't know what her intent was. Um, but it's this thing of like, people have been running this commentary about how, Will is so ego based that he'll be too ashamed to finally leave her. It's like, that's their marriage. Why are you involving yourself? Oh, Michael says the same applies for people who are married to their demons. Oh my God. That's me locking my opinions and throwing the key. Oh, shit. He says, if the person you're trying to help is married to their demons, you need to just mind your own business and let them, deal with that relationship issue. Because sometimes the issue that people have is not with certain people in their life, but rather their true issue is how certain people in their life trigger their ego-based demons. You know what I'm saying? So this is something they need to learn within themselves. Ooh, they took it too far. They took it too far. So usually Queen of Cups energy is a warm-hearted and fair person, beloved and adored, a good friend and mother, a devoted wife, practical, honest, loving, and intelligent, a gift of vision. See? You see that, masculine? You fucked up. You fucked up. Your own toxicity turned the Queen of Cups upside down. They're now reflecting your energy. You get what you get. You get what you get. I'm fucking pissed. Hold on. I'm sorry. La 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 la. Bow to your partner. So, Queen of Cups in reverse is dishonesty, unreliability, and vice. Mhm. Vice. But I don't even see that as a negative towards the person, the Queen of Cups person. You know what I mean? I see it as like now they're letting you see a reflection of your behaviors. They're no longer sacrificing themselves to save you and your feelings, your ego. Good. I can be cold-hearted like that, but is it really cold-hearted, or did you create a winter and expect the winter to exist with no need for winter clothes? Narcissistic much? Narcissistic much? You want to create an emotional winter, yet you don't want it to be cold. How about fuck you? How about that? Yeah, I'm good off any of that, for real. I just remembered I was trying to preserve my attitude for the week. Not bad. I'm returning back to a place of centeredness so that I can preserve my attitude for the rest of the week. We're not trying to get too salty right at the start. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Just have such a high sodium attitude. Ooh, divine discontent. Yeah. With being number 12, card number 12, 12 being the first steps on a sacred journey, the actual first steps that you take. Not the realization that you need to take a journey, not the planning of it, but the actual first steps. Card number 12, divine discontent. Winter falls upon us, so spring can bring new growth. Ooh. Wasn't I just talking about winter? Winter falls upon us, so spring can bring new growth. Cry the tears, allow the longing. Sadness brings surrender and a deep desire to be free. I know your heart. I hear it breaking and groaning in darkest night when you imagine yourself to be silently cast adrift in sleep. It speaks to me, that sacred heart of yours, whispering its longing and bemoaning its divine discontent. It knows when something is amiss. It senses that something is not quite right as yet. There's a piece of the puzzle missing. Even in its tremendous gratitude for all that is, and there's much gratitude and sweet appreciation in that precious heart of yours, there's a murmuring, a questing. It cries out to heaven, vouchsafe me a blessing. I cannot go on. I am broken and in need of your tenderness for healing. I am an empty cup and in need of filling, not with stuff and bits, but the most precious nectar of divine fulfillment. Nothing else will satisfy me. Please, please restore me to wholeness. I can bear this missing piece, this broken disarray no longer. I listen and I cajole that wise heart of yours. I praise it for its honesty and longing, for the longing is an irresistible perfume to the beloved, attracting the only salve that will soothe the divine discontent of your truth-speaking heart, that of divine presence, absolute and unquestionable. There is a sense within you, perhaps quite obvious to your conscious mind, or perhaps only dimly registered as an unnameable underlying sense of anxiety, that something in your life is not quite right. It may be the sense, even amongst so much gratitude, of a yearning yet to be met, a longing yet to be fulfilled and satisfied. This is the pain of the awakening heart. That heart is capable of bliss and ecstatic reverence for the sheer beauty and wonder of creation. Yet as the heart matures, there will be a process of deep, passionate longing that awakens for the divine. It's the impatience for the caress of the great lover, for the presence of the divine to come to you. Over time, that longing will grow from a mild inner sense of incompleteness, needing to become whole. It will develop into a holy fever, a sacred rage, a stamping of dancing feet, a pounding of fists upon the altar, and a longing so deep and distressing that one may well break into tears at the impossibility of bearing the pain of apparent separation for even a moment longer. Where is my beloved? Cries the awakening heart. I call for my beloved, and yet I am here still waiting. I can stand this no longer. As devotion grows and passion for the divine intensifies, so too does this yearning, so much so that this may come to feel as though your heart is breaking for the divine. Or perhaps you're not quite there yet. Your heart is attached to smaller gods, such as your status, your job, your lover, your body looking a certain way, or being able to live your life in a particular way. These smaller gods are not necessarily an issue. Yet you've drawn this oracle, and so it's guidance for you that the divine wants to draw you closer. Sometimes that means we will have a meager meal wrested from our hands, so we may feast upon something far more delectable and grand. The divine is a fiercely possessive lover. If there is a face of another beloved preventing you from longing for the divine embrace, and if you cannot see that this is divine beloved within your lover that you are loving, well, then something will be done by heaven. So make your relationship sacrosanct. Seek the divine in all things. When you cannot, when the power of lesser gods has you in its grip, acknowledge it, bear witness to it. Do not chastise. Instead, be truthful. Let your heart break and lie prostrate on the floor, hands clutching and head bowed as though only your sadness and plight could stir the heart of the divine beloved into descent of grace, saving you from a life far too bland for your exquisite Epicurean palate. Just don't misinterpret the pain and think that something really is wrong. If you are surrounded by status and money and cannot understand why you should mourn, it's even more important that you allow yourself to do so. Mourning is to be felt. Understanding is not so relevant. But if you must seek understanding, then know this, dear blazing angel. You are just waking from the deepest slumber. And with your awakening heart, you are realizing a truth, a part of you, deeper and wider, vaster and more instinctive, truthful and intelligent than your mind, is lonely for the divine embrace. That is right. This is sensible. This is sanity. It is a pain, the real noble pain of the heart that says there is something more than this inadequacy, this settling for plastic instead of precious gemstones, that must end now. I cannot be fed by pixelated sunsets and animation upon my computer screen. I yearn to be blasted by so much radiance and beauty by the real thing that I become stupefied. I must witness so much divine splendor that all I can utter is some incoherent grunt, my mind dissembled in my heart, ignited by the presence of my beloved. I want to become a fumbling, ecstatic wreck in the presence of my beloved. I want to allow this pain, this yearning, this divine discontent to guide me to my holy lover so my life may never be the same again. And so it shall be. The discontent, divine growing within you, is the beginning, not the destiny. Its purpose is to lead you into some greater connection with divinity. Do not resist it. Witness it. Do not dismiss it, trying to cover up its smell with rose petals. Let your rank discontent be the pathway to divinity. Look beyond what is, what has been prized and treasured, and is now found to be plated and not the precious gold it was once esteemed to be. Don't be scared, for you are my sidekick on this great holy adventure. I am here, you see, just around the corner. I have you in my sights, though you may not see me yet. I am holding a loaf of fresh bread, hot from the kitchen of the Creator, hoping to entice you with its wafting scent. tempting you to follow me on towards something of far more substance. If you are still stuck on pine-scented air freshener, imagining it is anything akin to the wild scent of the pine forest for real, then how can I tempt you? Let the stench be the stench, then the fragrance of God can be discerned, and together we can leave what is less behind once and for all, grabbing like hungry school children for the divine bread with sweet, fresh scent filling the air. Wow. Wow. Look beyond what is, what has been prized and treasured, and is now found to be plated and not the precious gold it was once esteemed to be. This is about how you align yourself. Just align yourself with the reality of what's going on. Have you treasured something as though it was pure gold, only to later realize, after it's turned your neck green, that it was actually gold plated, gold mixed with another alloy, another metal? It's never really gold. It was just plated. And you treasured it. You treasured it because someone lied to you. Someone presented something as something that it wasn't. And I feel like for part of the reading, for some of you, this someone is now trying to tell you, because you've realized it's not actual gold. Why would you lie to me? Why did you do this? Why did you have me believe this entire time that the house we built was made of gold when it was simply plated? And instead of being apologetic for some, this liar is now telling you, why can't you just be grateful? You're so ungrateful. I built this for us. You're so ungrateful. Is it that you're ungrateful? Or is it now you're being uncontrollable in your discovery of truth? Ooh. For whoever needed to hear this, I hope you heard what you needed to hear. You're rediscovering your power. That's what the issue actually is. You're becoming uncontrollable by the person who's accustomed to handling you with ease. Oh, the rage at seeing your discontent after you're uncovering the truth they've tried to hide. Oh, their rage. What should you do? I think you already know. I think you're already very, very aware of what to do and what your plan is and how things are supposed to play out. I think you all are extremely, extremely intuitive. The more you allow yourself to accept your intuition the way it is, just really receiving the messages your soul is giving you, the more messages you'll be able to hear. Start listening. Listen to what they say. Listen to the way they say it. Don't take what they say at face value. You look behind the words. Look at the energy. Assess it for what it is. For some, what you're witnessing is the process of your freedom. They will not let you go willingly. But you're too strong to keep bound. So what you're witnessing, it's almost like an actual revolution. And maybe that person, that negative masculine energy, is not someone outside of you. Maybe it's someone inside of you. Maybe it's a part of you. Maybe it's part of how you see yourself, how you treat yourself. Only you will know the answer to that. Okay? I'm going to be going live later today. I'm sorry I didn't go live for the crystal auction yesterday as I planned. I hadn't realized. I knew it was Halloween, but I hadn't realized that I didn't discuss with my family if they wanted to celebrate Halloween or not. And so, not long before I was to go live yesterday, one of my children was like, they let me know that they were disappointed in me. Because, this is like the time of year where they can embrace the former witchery. No, I'm just kidding. It's one of their favorite times of the year. They love pumpkins and skulls and stuff, like cartoon skulls. That's why we have those. That's why we have Brad and Joe. Yeah, they're really into that kind of stuff. So yeah, I had to reschedule to tonight. So I'm going to be having just a couple swords available tonight. I'm going to have more of my personal crystal collection. Some will be up for auction. Some will be a buy it now type of purchasing opportunity. These crystals have been with me for quite some time. They have a ton of my energy in them. And I find that people who, they do need a wig. Well, Brad, the bigger one, he actually just had back surgery. His L5S1 snapped, and I had to fuse his vertebrae with some glue and wire for further support. So I actually need to go check on them and check their process of recovery. We got to go, guys. Me and all my attitudes. I hope you guys get whatever guidance you need from this live stream. Not all of my live streams will resonate, but please, whatever does, allow your soul to guide you to better understand what you need from that message and how to apply it to your situation. I don't know everything. I am a simple, flawed human being, just like everyone else. You are the expert in your life. Only you. So allow yourself to begin acting like it. All right, guys. I hope I see you later today. I'll be going live around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll have a whole bunch of crystal stuff. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. Bye, everyone.